Hey, and welcome back. This is Marshaun Olaniyan. I am your favorite shift relationship strategist. You are listening to KCCR Cityscapes, and this is Love Restored. Now, before I jump into the content today, I'm going to quickly just say that this is a relationship goals series. The previous video was the relationship goals series pre-relationship, and now you are in a relationship. Now, what should you be doing in order to win while in your relationship? But before we jump into this particular series, I am just going to do a brief introduction of Love Restored and why I decided to start Love Restored, and then we're going to jump into the point. So the first reason why I decided to start Love Restored is because when I was growing up, I didn't have anything like this to reference, to get the tips, tools, strategies, or anything like that. I didn't get any sit-down talks to get any tips, tools, and strategies on how to love myself in order to choose a better mate, to be a great woman, to be a great partner, to be a great mother, etc. So I wanted to stop the buck here and to create this platform. So now that we have these beautiful people out here spreading the beautiful message on how to get into and be a part of a healthy relationship, I also wanted to be a part of that group of people that's spreading the positivity about relationships and how you can actually create an extraordinary relationship. And so Love Restore is one of the platforms that I'm on in order to spread said message. So with that being said, let's jump into the first way that you should be able to win while in your relationship. The number one thing that you should be doing while in your relationship is collecting data. Right now, you are still collecting data. You may have been past the stage where you're just casually dating one another. You're still trying to figure one another out. You may have actually started with the title. You may even be years into the relationship, but you still should be collecting data. And why are you collecting data? You are collecting data in order to make an informed decision to take the relationship to the next level. So are you still going to stay at boyfriend girlfriend level? Are you going to progress the relationship and get engaged? And then ultimately, are you going to even further progress the relationship so you can now be Mrs. Whomever? So you should be collecting data, collecting data, collecting data, collecting data. That's absolutely what you should be doing, is collecting as much data as possible. And it's not that you're doing it in a calculated way, but you are saying, I know the things that I want out of life. I know the type of relationship that I want to be in. And I want to see if our goals, if our values actually align. And if they don't align, then now you can make an informed decision on what is your next move. Are you going to stay there and be stagnant, or are you going to decide to leave, or are you going to decide to say, actually, we have really great goals and values together. We actually get along. We communicate really well. And now you're able to go down a list of things to say, this is why I am making an informed decision to move the relationship into the next level, or to wait for him to ask you for your hand in marriage. And now you don't have to hesitate or say no. You can absolutely, with an emphatic yes, say yes, right? And so collect as much data as you can. Do not ignore the butterflies in your stomach. What does that actually mean? The butterflies in your stomach means that there is something that is off. There is something that is off. And a lot of times we get into trouble because we ignore the what is off in the relationship. And so I don't want you to ignore what those butterflies or feelings of, I can't quite put my finger on it, mean. It means that something is not sitting well with you. And so you can go about the business of trying to figure out what that thing is, or not. But don't act like you didn't know that the feelings were there, because there's too much information out here now. There's too much research that has been done about people ignoring their intuition, the butterflies, the signs from God, and all that stuff. And now we have one of the highest divorce rates, specifically in the Black community. So the national average is 50% divorce rate for number one. Number two, the average is higher. And number three, the average is astronomical, right? In the Black community, specifically for the first marriage, we have exceeded the national average to 56%, the last time I checked. So the national average is 50%, but in the Black community, we're at 56%, specifically here in the US. And so I want to be a part of decreasing that divorce rate. Again, another reason why I decided to create a platform just like this, to spread the positive message, because just like we can win by getting information Specifically, let's go back to the degrees. You can get the information, you can get the coaching by getting your degree, or if you're an athlete, you can go out and work with the coach. He can help you get here, get there, and help you to strengthen your abilities out there. Obviously, you're doing the work, but the point is you're not doing this thing alone. You have a blueprint on how to win in this case your relationship, or if you're the athlete, you have a blueprint by working with the coach. That's how you win. So don't ignore your intuition. Don't ignore it. Another way to win in your relationship is to add in a variety of dates in order to see how the two of you will be compatible or fit into each other's world and around each other's family and friends. To see so there's not so much awkwardness going on, or that you really, it's like, okay, this person actually does fit in. And if they don't fit in, maybe this is not a deal breaker, but it is something for you to see how what's their ability or capability of being around other people, specifically other people that you vibe with. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to have some type of interactions where couples are coming together, and you don't want to always feel like your partner is getting you highly stressed when going to these functions, or they opt out all the time. Now, if that's not your thing, it's not a big thing. It's not a big thing. But this is one of the things that you should look for, because I know that there have been plenty of clients that I have worked with where this is an irritation of theirs, but they didn't pay attention to it in the beginning. So I don't want you to be a part of that. I want you to pay attention to the body language and the interaction that your potential future mate will have with their family and friends, and just your career, your career functions and all of the things, all of the activities outside of just you and him. So a variety of dates so you can see how this person acts. Another way to win in your current relationship is to watch how each of you enter, watch how each of you initiate contact. And what are some of the date suggestions? Now, this is one of the things that I hear a lot of specifically women complain about, but they don't realize that they are absolutely a part of the problem. So what am I really talking about? It is when they feel that they always have to come up with a date idea in the beginning, and then guess what? The man is now not participating on coming up with date ideas later on in a relationship. And one of the reasons why this is because, number one, you probably never pointed this out. So there's that. But then number two is the way that you set the relationship up in the beginning. If you feel that you always have to come up with the date ideas and suggestions and let's go here and let's meet here, you're always doing that, you're making your mate, the man in the relationship, very lazy. And as the relationship starts to progress, this is going to be something that you complain about, because you're not realizing that you are a part of the problem. So in the beginning, make it very clear that you will come up with some date suggestions, but you don't want to be the only one. Now, after you have said conversation, you have to give the other party the opportunity to adhere to what you put out there. You want them to do this naturally on their own. However, some people just need some guidance, because most of us never had the blueprint on how to really be in a successful relationship, and let alone a marriage. So you get the information, and then you have to test it out to see if it's something that works for you. Because just because I'm putting out all of these tips, tools, and strategies, every single one of them is not going to work for you. And that's okay. Take the ones that you know that you can do, and then apply them to your life and your relationship. This is how we make the improvement. This is how we choose better partners. This is how we can decrease that divorce rate by not jumping ahead and saying I do, only to be a part of the statistic years later because we didn't adhere to some of these things in the beginning. Another way to win in your relationship is literally to keep doing the things and seeing the people you were seeing before you got into said relationship. Now, this one is very important, because a lot of people, when the relationship fails or the breakup happens, and so this is specifically to women, we have a tendency to wrap all of our ideas about the relationship up in our partner and our spouse, and we stop hanging out with the people that we were hanging out with previously before we got into the relationship, or we stopped doing all of the things that made us feel good, whether it could be going to the gym, right, or just taking care of your body, eating better, Now we got on these 30, 50 pounds because we thought the relationship was good. So now we're carrying around extra weight, right? Your health overall may be failing, right? Maybe you are a person that's very creative and you have not tapped into your creativity for months and maybe even years. And so the whole point of this is, if the relationship does break up and you don't make it to the next level, you still have an idea of who you are, the things that you like, the things that you don't like, the things that you still want to explore, etc. So now you're not starting from ground zero when and if the relationship does break up. You don't want to have to start from ground zero because you gave all your time, energy, and attention to your partner who is now no longer your partner. You still have to do the things that make you happy. You still want to keep some autonomy in the relationship, not only for your partner, because men really, really, really love autonomy. You also want some autonomy for yourself. You want some me time for yourself to do all of the things that make you happy. So again, if and when this relationship does not go the way that you planned it, because right now you're not in the marriage stage. Right now you're in the collecting data stage. And a lot of times when we're collecting data, those relationships don't work out. So it's okay. It's okay. It happens and you may be there. But my point is to not get so wrapped up into this relationship. And if and when it does dissolve, now you're like, what in the hell am I going to do? Who am I? What did I used to do? The point is just to never stop doing those things. Okay? Another way to win in your relationship is to keep the lines of communication open and address any concerns as soon as possible. Now, sometimes you can't address it right in that moment because maybe you're around a lot of people and you want to have the respect of the relationship, but also for your spouse to have it in private. So you may not be able to catch and address said issue right then and there. But as soon as you can, as soon as your temperature lowers and it's no longer heated, have the conversation about what it made you feel like. Gotta have the conversation now. You have to have the conversation because that's going to be the only way that your spouse understands how to get better, at least for you. Now that we covered how you could win in your relationship, I want to jump into what questions you should ask in order to connect on a deeper level. Now, just note that this is not a comprehensive list. There are a multitude of questions that you can ask, but this is a great way to get you thinking about some of the questions that you should be asking, and then definitely ask these. Okay. So the first question I believe that you should be asking your partner, and even actually this is something that you should be asking yourself. But and if you want to have a deeper conversation with your partner, ask them these questions as well. So the first one is, what do you like to do in your free time? Again, you want to know you, but you also want to know your partner. What is it that you like to do in your free time? The next question is, what does a fulfilled life look like to you? Because you don't want to go in there with all of these questions and then you not even know the answers to them either. So prepare, not a full dissertation or anything, but prepare for the answers yourself. So when you're asking a question, and especially if you have somebody like, okay, I didn't think we was gonna go here today. Now you can say, you know what, I'll start. This is what I think a fulfilled looks like. Fulfilled life looks like for me. And now you're able to articulate your point of view. And now after you finish, it'll make the conversation a little bit easier for the other person. Get the answers yourself. The third question I think you should be asking is, how do you handle disagreements and or conflicts? And really listen to this one. And sometimes this one you may not even be able to listen to. You might have to wait and see, right? Because all of us can use this as lip service and it may not be true. So absolutely pay attention to how the person handles disagreements as well as conflict, because you don't want to have to be in a relationship with a person where you come home and now there's holes all in your walls because you don't know how to handle your anger. And it's deeper than that, but that's a prime example of how do you handle disagreements. Like, are you the silent treatment person? Do you walk out and just never come back? Or do you walk out and don't even tell me? Like, how do you handle disagreements and conflicts? And be able to, again, answer yourself. The next question you should be asking is, what have you learned about relationships and why they fail and why they succeed? This one is a really big one because then you can see if there is some baggage that is still there that the person, your potential spouse, needs to handle before you say, I do. Asking these thought provoking questions will give you a deeper sense of what the person is thinking about relationships. And again, what you're doing, you're collecting data. So you can later on, or when you go away and you now have time to reflect about the relationship, or excuse me, the conversation that you had with your potential spouse. Now you can make an informed decision. Do I even want to go out on another date? Or do I need clarifying answers to this because this one don't sit well with me, but maybe I'm misunderstanding things. So just opening up the door to have these conversations is going to make you feel much more in tune. So we have to keep the lines of communication open. Excuse me, we have to be able to ask these questions. Yeah, so you can keep the lines of communication open, but also so you can see if there are any red flags that you need to address right away. Now, before I go any further, I am going to go ahead and pay some bills here because you are listening to KCCR Cityscapes, and this is Love Restored. I'm your host, Marshaun Olaniyan. Now, if you have yet to download the apps on all of your smart devices, then go ahead and do that and share this episode as well as other personalities episodes here with the family and friends that you know needs to hear messages. So I specifically talk about relationships, but there are a plethora of other personalities on this platform because we want to share and tell our story our way. And if you have yet to grab, that's the word I'm looking for. If you have yet to grab your copy of Brownstone Living, which is the magazine, then absolutely pick up your copy today. We have digital and print. So now let's jump back into these questions. The next question that you should be asking is, what kind of relationship is he looking for? So you should know what type of relationship that you're looking for. What type of relationship is he looking for now? The next question is, what's your attitude towards personal development and personal growth? Now, this one is a new type of question that people ask in their relationship because a lot of us are on this personal growth and personal development journey. Now, one of the reasons why this is actually important is because sometimes people are not ready to go down this road. They, as much as they hate where they're at, they would rather stay where they're at and they're knowing versus jumping out into the unknown. And so a lot of people stay stuck for the fear of, I don't know what's out there. And, or if they're not into personal development and personal growth, and you are, at some point, there is going to be an unbalanced relationship and you're going to outgrow him. And if you outgrow him, now what is the conversation about? What does the life look like together? How do you still feed each other's fire if this person is not growing and you are continuously growing day after day and year after year? So this one is a new aspect that we need to pay attention to in our relationships. Personal growth is something because you hear it all the time in the culture, right? Being your most authentic self, up leveling your life, and things like that. And that's a beautiful thing because I'm totally on that train myself. But you have to be aware some people are not ready for this type of talk, nor this type of relationship. Another question you need to be asking is, what are your thoughts on coaching, counseling, and therapy? Again, another thing, specifically to our community. Coaching and therapy, or specifically therapy and counseling has been out there. Coaching is one of the newest forms that is out here. But the point is asking what are their thoughts on that, because if the two of you cannot reconcile, resolve, or have a solution for something, for a conversation, an argument, something that keeps coming up in your relationship, now you need to step outside of the relationship to get said help, to get said answer. And sometimes you just have to pay for it. Because the person that you're paying for, number one, They don't have any emotional attachment to either one of you. So it should be an unbiased viewpoint. The second thing is, instead of you trying to figure out how to get it together year after year, year after year, year after year, now they're able to cut down the learning curve for you. So pay to get the answer. Pay to get the answer. So now you can rectify and resolve this particular argument in your relationship faster, real quick. Because if y'all been talking about the same thing for years and years and years, y'all don't know how to solve it. So now it's time for somebody that's qualified, you to go and talk to somebody that's qualified that can help you to stop this conversation once and for all. The next question that you should be asking is, how important is personal space and independence in the relationship to you? Now, again, you answer your own question and you're asking the question as well. The last question that I believe you should be asking is, what are your top 3 love languages? Now, there are 5 love languages, but research actually shows that if the both of you know each other's top 3 and you share and show each other's top 3, right? So maybe each other's top 3 don't match up or align perfectly, but maybe there's 1 or 2 in there that you both like. So maybe both of you love quality time and both of you love physical touch. But the third one likes affirmations and the other one likes gifts. So those are the ones that you are really going to have to work on, because most of us show love the way that we want to receive it. So if I am the person that likes the quality time and the person that also likes the gift, I'm expecting for you to give me gifts, not affirmations. I don't want affirmations. I want gifts. So really recognizing what your other person's love language is and showing it to them will be a way for your relationship to go to the next level and for you to just understand your partner that much better. Now, the last area that I want to go over is, how do you know if this person is for you? How do you know if this person is for you? So again, you can make an informed decision about going to the next level with this man. One of the first ways that you will know if this man is for you to say yes to the engagement and even to the marriage, is that you feel a deep emotional bond and connection, which provides a sense of security and safety. Another way to determine if this man is for you is for you both to communicate with openness, with honesty, and a sense of wanting to understand each other. See, a lot of times when people communicate, they actually are not communicating at all. They're talking at one another versus to one another. And when you listen with understanding, you listen much different than you would when you're looking to respond or to react to what the person is saying. You're slowing down, you're actually asking follow-up questions because you're really trying to clarify. That way you can understand what it is that they're saying to you. So being able to communicate openly and honestly, this is about any and everything. It doesn't matter if the other person disagrees. You feel and should feel like I can go to him about anything. It doesn't even matter if we agree or disagree. I can talk to him about anything. And that makes me feel good. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing. So your communication, how is it? Your deep emotional bond, how is it? Another thing to consider is if both of you are committed to making the relationship work. Now, this is one of the things that I really love, and not every couple does it. And some couples that I know actually take divorce off the table. I am wholeheartedly for divorce being off the table in most instances. Let me say that, because as much as I believe in marriage, I believe that most people that are together today should not be together. So now, if you have gotten out of a relationship or even a divorce and you've done your work and you're working on yourself consistently and you want to be better and better and you're committed to making the next relationship work because number one, you are healthy or continuously becoming a healthier person inside and out, and you're with a healthy person inside and out, and it's the goal of both of you to make the relationship work, then I'm all for that. But I do believe that a lot of relationships, or excuse me, a lot of people that are in relationships and including marriages should not even be together. Because just because you've been together 30 years, have you been happy all of those 30 years? Now I get it. You're not going to be happy every single moment of your marriage. I get that. But by and large, is it a toxic marriage? Are you guys sleeping in the other room? Right? Are you breaking up within your relationship but staying there because of what other people got? Right. I'm about to go down a rabbit hole and I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is move forward. Be committed to making a relationship work if it makes sense. Not over there getting your head bust upside. That's not a relationship. I'm committed to make it work. But that's why you're gathering the evidence before you say I do. The next thing you should be considering is if there is a lot of laughter in play. This is one of the things that I hear a lot of couples complain about, that the relationship is now stale and stagnant. And it's stale and stagnant because neither one of you made it a point to keep it fun. So we really are really great at pointing the finger at the other person. But what have you done to make sure that there's a lot of laughter and a lot of fun in your relationship? How much play are the two of you doing, or is everything super serious because life has gotten in the way? Children have come in, careers have come in, and now everything is literally like checking boxes. I talked to them today, I talked to the kids, I gave kids hug, but it's not really anything fun. It's just mechanical at this point. We don't want to be in a part of mechanical relationships. So just something to ponder and think about. Something to ponder and think about. The next thing is to think about if the both of you encourage each other's goals, adventures, aspirations, and as I mentioned earlier, growth. That should be something that you are, you might actually be for me. Informed decisions, right? The next thing is to see if one another are friends as well as a potential spouse. Are you actually friends with this person? Do you actually like this person? Do you like being around this person? Because life gets in the way at times. And it doesn't even have to be the spouse that's getting in the way life. It could be somebody ailing, like it could be one of y'all, of course. It could be a child, of course. But a lot of times it's other people that you maybe have to take care of, specifically like your parents, and worrying about your parents now. And that can take the focus away from your making your relationship a priority, because now you need to focus over here, right? So there are absolutely things that are going to happen in your life, but do you actually like this person? Do you really like being around them? Do you feel like you can just be yourself around this person, which is another thing. If you feel like you're walking on eggshells when you're just dating, there's no way you should move the relationship forward. No way. No way you should be moving a relationship forward if you don't feel like you can be open and honest about everything, even if they don't agree. The next thing you should consider is, how will you both contribute to the family and or domestic duties? This one has still been a big one in our community because a lot of women are still taking up the majority of the household chores and domestic duties, as well as working outside the home, as well as rearing the children and making sure they're at all their appointments and at all of their activities, athletic activities and creative stuff and hanging out with friends. And a lot of that is still put on the women, as well as trying to come home and clean up the entire place. So with that being said, these are all of the things that you should be thinking about in your relationship. I know it's a lot. There may be areas that you have to work on that I mentioned, and there may be areas that you're good at and in that I already mentioned. Take the one or two that you can start to work on to up level your relationship right now. Ask the questions that you need to ask. Come back and rewind this if you need to rewind this. Re-listen to it. Send it to a friend. Y'all can have some conversation about it. And listen, you can even send it to your partner or spouse, specifically the area where the questions are, and actually have an intelligent conversation to see if you two are really compatible with one another. I am Marshaun Olaniyan. You are listening to Love Restore on Cityscapes. If you want to get in contact with me outside of Cityscapes, then absolutely reach out to me. My email is marshaun@marshaunolaniyan.com, or go to my website at www.marshauno.com. I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And I will see you in series number 3, where we're talking about marriage. All right. I love you guys.